Welcome to the NEF Capital Advisors webcast. My name is Joy Milkowski, and I'm here today with Clark Griggs, head of Griggs Wealth Management and wealth manager. Let's assume now that owners are thinking much more strongly about an exit event. What ways can you help prepare those owners for wealth post-sale?
I think the key is to take a step back, be reflective, and really develop a concrete plan moving forward. And that plan includes three different things. The first one is you need to revisit actually your estate plan. Quite often, a lot of owners may have named children in their estate plans for the business, or they may have real estate attached to the business in which the children may be owners. So we start with a solid estate plan and make sure that everything is moving the way it should. Number two, we want to sit down with tax advisors and really look at getting that net number as close as we can to the real value of the business. That's a nice way of saying we want to minimize taxes moving forward. Once we do those two things, we also then do a comprehensive financial plan and analysis. So what I really want to know in a very unabashed way is, what do you need to live on and what would you like to live on? And then we can back into A, what we need to net from the sale of the business, two, what we need to do growing assets moving forward, and then how much income we can take from them.
Let's talk more about the point you were making about taxes. Obviously, I think everyone is of a mind to minimize their tax burden. So what are some strategies business owners can think through to minimize their taxes?
Well, one of the key advantages that a lot of owners lose is the ability to aggressively invest in their company retirement plans. So we may have owners investing anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 a year in various retirement plans, and then post-sale, that number declines a great deal. In fact, in defined benefit plans and some of the other plans, depending on the employee count or whether or not there are employees, some owners can defer over $100,000 a year. So the ability to defer money is one of the largest challenges that owners will face moving forward. All of a sudden now you've got huge ordinary income issues that you didn't have before potentially. So that's the first thing, is we really need to understand what role retirement plans are going to play moving forward for an owner. Second thing that we look at is, from a portfolio standpoint, what are the types of investments that you can use so that you mitigate taxes? Quite often we'll look at using municipal bonds for clients that offer federal tax-free protection, or if they're in the same state, it might be double tax-free. We may look at using also capital gains treatment versus ordinary income treatment. That's one of the critical things, to backtrack shortly, that you look at it first as well with your tax advisor. You want to look at whether or not you're doing an asset sale or a stock sale for the business, because one treatment is ordinary income, the other one is capital gain. Quite often we try and arrive at a blend of the two for an owner.
So when do you need to start talking with an owner, or when would a prudent wealth manager need to start talking with a business owner to start these talks prior to an exit strategy?
As soon as possible is the right answer, although it's very short. And I would arguably say that the owners need to be meeting with their teams as soon as possible. So they need to be meeting with their transaction attorneys, their CPAs, their estate attorneys, and their planners at the same time. It's a team effort.
Okay. As they're managing those teams, any advice you have on, how to optimize the results you get when you're working with so many different parties?
Well, you need one person to typically quarterback it. So most professionals are trusted and they are client oriented and focused, but it does help if you have one person who typically will take lead. Because one of the things you don't want to have is multiple professionals billing for the same data, information, that type of thing. So they're typically, in most of the teams I've worked with, you will typically have a lead. Might be the financial advisor, might be the CPA, might be the business consultant.
So Clark, beyond the finances and beyond the planning, there's also the life piece, the what to do after my business is sold piece that I think factors into your work with business owners. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
That's a great question, and it reminds me of Michael Gerber and some of the work the amazing work he's done with the E-Myth. And in the E-Myth, he talks about how quite often a business is our baby. It's our highest expression of ourselves. It's It's our opus, if you will. It's what we give back to the world. So for many owners, once the business is sold, there's a gaping hole. And the challenge is, what do I fill that with? So some people get involved in their communities. Some people go after another business to build. But there truly is an emotional component to selling a business. And quite often, if someone is deferring or delaying, we'll dig into that and say, okay, what's really going on here? And many times we'll find that it's part of who they are and their purpose, and they don't want to lose their identities.
So it's prudent then, as from a wealth management perspective, to not only talk to that business owner about their financial goals, but also what personal goals and life goals are driving this decision as well.
Absolutely. And there may come a time when you have to reformulate those things. It's an interesting study that was run by a major corporation in regard to its pensioners. And what they found was that the folks that retired early and took pensions actually had a shorter lifespan. So we know for a fact, there's data to support that having an enterprise keeps you engaged, energetic, and healthier.
For data center owners and managed service providers and cloud providers, what would be interesting is helping them capitalize on the timing that is now. So many mergers and acquisitions happening right now. So perhaps it's good to talk with them about a plan B so that they can capitalize on the timing now, but then perhaps roll right into another opportunity or another business, but not miss out on the timing today.
Fair enough. There's a concept that we have in business sales called a second bite of the apple. So quite often an owner will stay with the acquirer and participate materially so that they can actually still participate in growth. There's a tidal wave, obviously, that's happening in cloud of opportunities and expansion. And many people don't want to miss out on that, and that's truly understandable. At the same time, we've always viewed on our side data centers as almost hybrids in some respects because you have the real estate component as well. So you've got cloud and an expansion, you've got real estate, commercial real estate in particular, doing exceptionally well for the last 3 years. And I use a different gauge on that. I can look at a REIT index and tell me how well real estate's doing, and it's been doing phenomenally well. So you are absolutely correct. Plan B would say, okay, do I stay with the acquirer and do something? Do I immediately take that capital and look at another opportunity? Quite often, if you do that pre-sale, it can lower your overall tax bite. So that actually is a very smart thing to consider moving forward.
A recent acquisition that was interesting was the Zayo acquisition of Lattices, which was, Zayo sort of putting its stake in the ground that perhaps the bandwidth infrastructure acquisition is slowing down, but now they might be refocused